to BizChicks TV. We're here to help you take the hassle out of your hustle so you can build a profitable business that's fun to run. Here are your hosts.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to BizChicks TV. We're here talking about profits in daily with Coach Caren Fern, all the way from Toronto, Canada. She's in the house, and oh my goodness, if you have never paid attention, pay attention today because we're going to be talking about a really good subject. Oh my gosh, Coach, it's just such a blessing to have you here. I want to give a shout out to my partner, Miss Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva. I'm Terralina, and we're the Biz Chicks. Get your favorite beverage, but above all, get a pen and paper because we're getting ready to dive into it today. Because this is our money coach. So, so our money coach is in the house. What do you have for us today, Coach?
And today we're talking money. You know, I talk about all kind of things surrounding it, but today we're talking money strictly. What to do when you don't have enough or any of it, like what to do. So we're talking about that. We're going to talk, we're going to talk about different things. We're going to talk about what comes up when little or no money is available. Do you panic or make bad choices or good? Are you the kind of person that waits for an answer? Like, what do you do? And this is leading into the series that I'm bringing to the marketplace probably at the end of this month, talking about finding out who you are. Because when you find out who you are, that's how you operate with money, whether you realize it or not. You either panic about money because of whatever perceivement you have or whatever happened before you understood it, or you find yourself in a bunch of trouble and you're reacting because of what has happened. And you haven't figured out who you are in terms of finances as you grow up, as you get older, as you do all the things you want to do. So, case in point, when you hear people talk about a lot of money, it's really hard for you because if you haven't experienced it, it feels really like it is so far away from you that you can't even imagine you touching it. Another thing I noticed, if somebody talk about how much money their business makes, and I know they're talking revenue, people get all up in arms and say, but that is just the revenue. Hi, morning, doc. That's just revenue. You didn't tell us what's the net. Well, it's none of your business, but it's the number that you're freaking out with, really. That's why you're bugging the people about taxes and expenses. That's their business. If they wanted to bring it to the marketplace, they would have told you. The reason they're telling you this number is A, to get you excited to buy maybe what they have, or B, because they're feeling good that now they're at this point. It has nothing to do with you.
Oh, really?
You're feeling a type of way because you probably haven't touched that kind of money yet. You haven't allowed yourself, and it's not because you can't get it, no matter what you have and what you do. It's because you haven't allowed yourself to know that you can be there. Yesterday, I was talking to somebody, and also my sister, and I was saying, you got to start seeing that your money that you're working for is not to pay the bills. The money you're working for, you're worthy of the money you're working for, and you're allowing whatever else is coming to you. And out of that, you pay bills. Because I'm going to repeat it again because I want to make this point. When you earn money, the earnings is because you're worthy, meaning you brought value to the marketplace.
Okay.
That's why you're getting the money. And you're also allowing money to come to you, even if it wasn't from earnings. Because money comes to you without being earned if you open up and allow the blockage to move away. And I'll get into that in a minute. Okay. So if you understand that, you're not flustered and fuming about paying bills, because the bills you're paying is allowing you to use your phone, have a roof over your head. It's doing what it's supposed to do for you. So quit complaining about it. But I don't want you to work for money to pay bills. I want you to see that the thing you've gotten is allowing you to pay the bills from it rather than working to pay the bills. When you start understanding that, and I ask you as an individual to put aside $50, you're not fighting me on it because you get it, that you're worthy of having $50 extra to do absolutely nothing specific but what you want to do with it.
Mhm.
That's it. And now money is not this thing that you're afraid of. I'm forcing you to stop being afraid of it, because so many people are afraid of even the money they're earning. They're so afraid of the money they're earning. And so as it come in, it just leaves.
Oh.
So you need to know what comes up. Comes up when you have no money. Write it down. Why does this happen to me? Write it down. And then answer the question, please. You must answer the question. Whatever you're feeling, you have to answer it. I don't have enough time. I feel like if I do this, I would be without. I'm afraid I would die and don't have money to leave for my children or my siblings or whomever. I don't care. Like, whatever's that fear around the money, you need to understand it. And then you need to find out where it's coming from so you can look after it. You know,
Oh.
you got to go look after it. I once, when I was a hairstylist, I had a client that for about 2 years, and I said to her, I notice your scalp needs a doctor. I can take your money and do your hair, but you need to go see a dermatologist. You need to go and get recommended to a specialist specifically for scalp treatment. She
Oh.
was so mad with me. I just want to come and get my hair done. Why you want me to go do this, and that? And then I said to her, are you afraid that's going to cost a lot of money? And she just took a deep breath and she said nothing else. And I said, our system, OHIP, will pay for the dermatologist. The specialist, you might have to pay out of pocket. But before you freak out, I want you to call up, find out. There's, it
Mhm.
wasn't easy internet. She's a big lady. Didn't want to do that. And find out what the cost would look like and how much pay, how many different sets of pay that you'd have to put aside to be able to sponsor this. And she
Okay.
calmed right down. She hanged up on me, called back and apologized, hang up again, call back and said, Caren, it took me 2 days. It's the money that was freaking me out. I knew when I come to you, it cost me this money. I could pay
Mhm.
that. When you talk about seeing a specialist, I freak out in how much it's going to cost. And it's not
Yes.
that much. Like she ended up saying it's not that much. Like, I'm going to be out of pocket like 120 because my, beside OHIP and my medical is going to cover 80%. And I only have to come up with 120. But
Wow.
the money freaked her out.
I think because when we get outside of the budget,
Mm-hmm.
fear jumps in.
It
Fear is
jumps in.
something we're gonna have to do without some essential.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? Whatever fear has to say to us
Yeah.
to make us freak out.
Yeah. And it'll do it to us. It'll do it to us. So if you have no money right now,
Mhm.
but you're looking for a job, you're starting a business, I want you to set expectations for yourself so that there's something you're working towards. You got a plan in mind, you got a goal in mind. And even if you're not hitting it right now or afraid you might never get to it by the end of 2026, I still want you to go for it. I want you to
Mhm.
consistently be in the mindset that it's going to happen and it's waiting to happen. And you're going to do all the things that you can do while you're praying, while you're doing, because the money will come. If you're not making enough money in your business, in your job, whatever it is you have to do, I still want you to do the things that you set out you're going to do. Now, let's talk about number two. Do you panic and make bad choices? I
Oh.
remember when I got my first apartment in Canada, leave my dad's house, got my first apartment. I couldn't afford the rent, and rent was cheaper then. The basement apartment was $550. And I couldn't afford $550 for that transportation, eat, and everything. And I
Mhm.
went to no, I lie, it was 750. And my pay at the time was roughly about $1,100. And I said to her, I said, Sue, what would you charge the apartment without utilities? And my friend says, I don't think you could ask that question. And I said to the girl, why? So I
Mm-hmm.
just called up the lady that I was going to rent from, and I said, here is what my budget will allow. And if we can work with this, I can take the place off of you. Uh, and she says, I'll think about it and get back to you. She called me back. She said we can do it that way, where I pay just the rent, and then all the overhead as the bills come in, then I pay a quarter of it because the tenant upstairs will pay 3/4. That was the deal.
Mm-hmm.
And also she said to me, Caren, I'm looking for a cleaner. Do you want to clean? This is all I can pay. And I took it because I recognized what she would be able to pay me with what I was working for full time. It makes sense. And so in my head, I tell my friend this story, and she's like, Caren, I don't know. I said, I'm going to do it. So I took the apartment because I realized I can take the apartment. I can have time to do the things I want to do, which was go back to school and all those wonderfulness. And all the time, a friend of mine keeps saying, you can't do this. You can't do this. And I said to her, have you ever sit with yourself and figure out the monies you're making and what you're doing? She goes, why would you ask me that? I said, then we wouldn't be having this conversation. So I stopped talking to her about it. Because she was panicking for me.
Yes, I hear you.
Part, guys. Sometimes people will panic for you. She was panicking for me. Will. I sat down myself that Sunday, and I sat down and I said to myself, Caren, you're watching too much TV, so you can't watch as much TV. You want to go to school. I was correspondence school, and I was physically going to school. I look at my hours that I went to work, and I said, I need a part-time job. I got a little thing with the lady, but I need a part-time job because I don't want to live so that the monies I make is just that. Like there's nothing left, right? Mm-hmm. And so I decided how I'm going to make this work for me. This is when we talk about making choices, deciding. But guys, if you think it in your head, but you never put it on a paper, computer, whatever, it just lives there as a dream that could be. Because I had the numbers to back it up, it works. So I took myself out to the mall, to the stores, and bought nothing, just a notebook and a pen and paper. I wrote prices out. I wrote my menu in advance. I decided what I would want. And not only the food, but snacks, things I know I like, things I want to do. And then everything had a number towards it. It wasn't a set a budget yet, like we know budget to be. This was just me analyzing where I lie and then planning on this new part-time job that I'm going to get to see how it goes. By the way, at the same moment, I was about to sponsor people. And this is the money I made. That's why my friend was panicking for me. I was going to sponsor 2 people.
Okay.
And I was barely making any money. But because I put it on paper, I showed myself what seemed impossible, how it could become possible.
Okay.
Understand how to do that. You feel like you're a magician. You feel like you work miracles.
So write it down and make it plain.
Make a plan. Set a goal. And be very, very diligent with it. Do not allow other people to come in and talk you out of it. Tell you what doesn't make sense. Explain to you how that is not feasible. People can't do it in such a short time. These were the advice I got. They're like, Caren, it's just a year you're here. Like, people are here for years and they're trying to do that. You can't do that in 2 years. Well, of course I can, because I'm not listening to you.
I think the other thing is that people are short-term planners in many cases. And so they can't see it happening in the next 2 weeks, 1 month. You know what I'm saying?
They can.
A 2-year plan.
Yeah. And then they'll explain to you how you don't have enough time. There's a big thing I got all the time. Carmen, where are you going to find the time? But that's on paper as well. So I know how I'm going to find the time. I've decided. You see, once you decide, this is the biggest thing here. Once you decide, do not let anybody talk you out of it. Once you decide.
You decide and commit.
Yes. Commit, stay consistent, and do what you set out to do. And you will watch your life change before your very eyes. And nobody I mean, nobody will move you if you decide. Remember last week we talked about believing in yourself, believing what you can
Yes.
do. I know that I've performed a lot of miracles in my time, in my lifetime, from a
Mm-hmm.
little girl right up until. Because when I believe that I can do something, I put forth every effort. I also understand I can get sick in between. So don't get me wrong, these are set up there. I could get sick. I could be down for 2 weeks. Karen, what would you do if you're down for 2 weeks? How is this going to play out? These are questions that sometimes you're so afraid to ask that you miss out on what could have been. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, would I get sick? If I'm sick and I'm not working, how would I get the money? What would I look like? This is how you're setting aside for those rainy days because you actually anticipated, not because you want to be sick, but this is a possibility. We're living in
Mm-hmm.
a cold place. I came from a warm place. I've got to dress in layers of clothes. This is part of what may happen. My immune system is not used to this. I have to build me up. These are things that is true. They're not false. So I need to understand that and work towards that. I need to go to my doctor and find out. So what could I do? How could I make sure that I'm healthy and doing the best I can? You know, I want to know about my nutrition. I'm going to go straight. I don't eat X, Y, and Z. What could I supplement that with? You know,
Mm-hmm.
those are important questions. You got to love on you, my dear. You got to really believe and love on you. Because when you do, these are part of the things that you must do.
I love that you have to love on yourself. You know what I mean? Believe in yourself. And that way you don't panic because you have a plan. Oh,
Yeah. You have to. And then when it come time to rest, I want to rest. My schedule was rigorous. I'm gonna give one of my schedules. My schedule was I got up at 3 in the morning. I leave at
mm-hmm.
4 and I went to school. I finished school around noon and I went to work and work up until 8:30. I come in, take a break, have something to eat, rest a bit, and I studied for 2 hours. And then I did it all over again, Monday to Friday. And then I worked on the weekend, sometime both days, sometime one day. I wash all my clothes, iron them and hang them up, cook all my food, made all my snacks, go for walks, talk to friends, read books. I did all of that. And everybody had the same 24 hours, but I
Mm-hmm.
decide how mine fall, what needs to happen. You know, if a friend called me up and I got home around 8:30, by 9 o'clock, I'm like, girl, I really want to chat with you, but I got to go study. Talk to you
Mm-hmm.
soon. I'm not pushing you off. I'm just, you know what it is. And I'm
I
telling
have
you.
a schedule. I'm on
Yeah.
schedule.
Everybody know I stuck to my schedule. If you love TV like I do, I literally used to tie up my TV and I wouldn't open it up until the weekend because I didn't want to be tempted. So I put on a radio and I
Mm-hmm.
studied in my bedroom. So I'm not in the living room. I had a little one bedroom, you know. I
Mm-hmm.
set my schedule of how I'm going to clean, when I wash. I go upstairs, knock on the door, tell the tenant upstairs, here the days I want to wash. Let me know the days you want to wash, because we were sharing the washer
Sharing.
and dryer. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I see her as my ally. So if something went wrong, I didn't call the landlord. I knock on her door. I talk to her about it. If she didn't like something, she could do the same thing. And so, we talk with each other. If I did
Mm-hmm.
something that I think she might like, I knock on the door and said, I did some baking. Would you like to try this? Uh, and so, because she is right above me, if anything happened to me, this woman would be able to come down and see that something happened to me and call my dad, or because
Yes.
that's what I give her, that kind of info. And you want to do these things for yourself. I'm new in the country. I don't know a lot of people. Two people at work, I had their number, and my
Mm-hmm.
dad, and now, and my landlord. But then this lady is right above me, and I decide to befriend her. My friend said, well, maybe she doesn't like you. I don't know. I don't care. I care that she's right above me. And if anything happened, she would be the first person to know that something has happened to me. So instead,
Mm-hmm.
I'm mad. She had big dogs that really make a lot of noise. I just said to her, here's my schedule. So if the dogs are barking late at night, I can't sleep and I got to get up at 3 in the morning. She's like, Caren, I'm going to try my best. And she did. If the boys ran up and down, she'd come down. She said, I'm so sorry last night. It was so hard. The boys were really energetic. And I would say,
Mm-hmm.
because she is, communicating with me and just not letting me assume a lot of things. But that's because I knew what I needed. And that's why, guys, you got to know who you are and what you need. So I can tell her. So I'm not assuming she's a bad person upstairs and she doesn't like me. She doesn't care. She doesn't know what I'm doing downstairs. So I tell her what I am doing.
Uh-huh.
And now she's looking after me when the snow is high and I can't get through the side door. She's like, Karen, walk through our space. She's like, my husband is going to shovel and make sure you got passage in the morning. That man is out at 2:30. He come to me and says, Karen, you got garbage. I'm putting out the garbage. I know it's hard to get out here. That's because I went and talked to them in advance.
Mm-hmm.
When you're looking after yourself, guys, you start seeing life differently. You start seeing how people respond to you because they might be shy and inverted, for one. So they might not be thinking, through talking to the lady, I realized she's Canadian, she's white, but I didn't realize she never lived in Toronto before. So she's not used to big cities. She come from a small part of Canada. So she loved people, but she said she found a lot of people wasn't as friendly. So she was feeling isolated. She was happy that I was talking to her and wanted to share my goodness with her.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta sometimes do the things that you might feel you can't do. Get turned down. You're not gonna die, but try and see if there's this, thing that can happen. When you're doing all of that, you're opening, by the way, and allowing your money to flow in. You're allowing things to happen. There's this cycle of things that happen. When you're generous with you and people and time, money flows your way. When you get all up in arms and being all rigid and carrying on, money disappears from you. It's not only a hold the money thing. It's all the other things that you're doing with the money. When you're careless with your money, it goes away. So you got paid. And you know that you're supposed to give yourself $20, and you take the $20 and you didn't give it to yourself, even though you allotted it to you, and you give it to everybody else. Then self don't need money anymore. Then all of a sudden, self doesn't get $20 anymore because you took it away. And you're like, why I never had money in my purse? You took it away. You did not give it to yourself, even though you had the agreement on paper that Caren, Terry, I'm going to give you girls $20. Let's give yourself the $20. If you don't spend it at the end of the month, you'll have $80. If you were giving yourself $20 a week, $80 you would have. If you spent $5 and you would have $60. So you have to be able to understand how money works with you, not me or Terry. Each individual, money works different with each individual person. But it also works the same with the point of if you don't accept it well and you don't give it out well. There's this push and pull that happens.
So you need to keep things circulating?
Yes. Don't be stagnant. Don't be stagnant. This is why, you see, when you have no money, I think it's Tony Robbins, they talk about it at a time. Something I had watched when he was talking about it, or is in his book, But the Giant. Can't remember where. He was talking about not having money, holding on to the money he had, and then he was so fed up with not getting to where he wanted to be, and he went to get a coffee or something to eat something. And a little boy was standing around, he and his mom, and he could see they need money. And then the guy, I guess the child was begging for whatever. And he took all that he had in his pocket and he just gave it to them and let them buy whatever. And he walked away. And he says, after I did it, I was thinking to myself, Tony, you're really crazy because you got no other money.
Okay.
And, he got all the money and he walked away. And he says, as he talked about it and he finished, he started getting ideas of what to do, what to come next. Here's the thing, guys. Sometimes when you do a thing and you get a new idea, You resist the idea because it hasn't fully formed yet. And ideas is a funny thing. If you have an idea, go write it down. I should make this circle. Go write the circle down, because as soon as you complete the circle, the next attachment will appear, and then the next attachment will appear. Maybe 3 circles I need to draw the circles. You will notice that things will appear. Case in point, when I first learned to make fudge, I didn't know how. I knew I was taught, but I couldn't get the fudge to harden, to cut immediately. And I had this idea to put it in a bottle and put the bottle in water. And my grandmother was laughing, and she says, "Karen, that's the craziest thing." I said, "I know, but I'm going to try it because I have a feeling it might work." And she says, "I don't think it will work." I says, "Okay." She says, "So you're going to do it?" I said, "I'm still going to do it." So I still did it. Next morning I got up, and the fudge, the coating at the top of the fudge got a little hard, but inside was still stuff, like a toffee.
Yes.
She says, "So what are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to call it toffee fudge." She says, "Nobody's going to buy that." Well, I was sold out in an hour because there was a new thing in town, toffee fudge.
Toffee fudge. There you go. A new idea.
A new idea.
And many ideas are just stumbled upon.
Yeah. And you got to follow through. So when I made good fudge, there was people who still came and asked for toffee fudge. They love toffee fudge. So I got 2 clientele, the people who buy regular fudge and the people who bought toffee fudge. Now, I had to figure out why it becomes sticky. It didn't have enough sugar. I didn't boil it long enough. Once I got that recipe, I made toffee fudge and I made regular fudge. You see the circle? The circle was me making the fudge and me continuing when I was inspired to do the other thing. Like, you got to go ahead and do it. So if you got no money right now and you want to know what to do, and you sit down with yourself and you figure it out, don't try to walk the whole bridge. Just make a step. Just put on the pot of milk and the sugar. Just get up and clean your little space you're in. Just move furniture around. And the idea to come to you, go write it down. And if the step doesn't follow, ask yourself, what's the next step? I mean, it sounds so simple, but really do it. What's the next step? And then write the next step down. And then ask for the following step. And if it doesn't come today, allow yourself that maybe you're going to take a week to get this project outlined. But stay with it. Stay with it. If in that phase you're looking for a job, every single day your job is to look for a job. Imagine yourself in the job. What are you going to do when you get the job? The kind of money you need to take for this job. How are you going to spend the money that's coming up? What is it going to be doing for you? Because it's coming, because you're worthy of it, remember. And it's okay to come to you. You're not getting this job to pay bills. But once you receive the earnings, you will pay your bills. I want you to rephrase.
Well, there you go. Oh my goodness, Coach. It just seems so uncomplicated when we relax and let things flow and we don't panic.
There you have it. There, in a nutshell. Terry just told you it in a nutshell. In a nutshell.
Wow. Guys, see, this is why you needed your pen today. Okay. And I love the examples you gave about the apartment, about working with people, about giving what you have to give, sharing things with your neighbors, just being kind. Sometimes if we just share kindness,
just kindness,
things will change. And Dr. Taji says, this was really good.
Thanks, Doc.
Because God says he'll reward your generosity, your acts of kindness. He won't overlook them. And we're always, maybe not always, but maybe we're looking in the wrong direction for a return on our investments.
Yep.
Wow. With that, I want to say to you guys, Coach Caren has a great YouTube channel. Be sure to connect with her over on her YouTube channel. Coach, if you put that in the chat, because I don't think I have it, I'll be sure to share it on the screen here and in
I,
the
I, I will.
comments.
Give me a second.
Uh-huh.
I thought I
And in
had
the
it.
meet,
Yeah.
okay, yep,
Usually I do. Yeah.
okay, and there we go. And while you're doing that, I want to remind everybody that Biz Chicks is offering a program called Hidden Revenue Recovery. So if you don't know where the money is in your business, you're not making enough money in your business, you need to contact us. And I
Yep.
put the the QR code up
QR
there
code. Yeah.
in the top up. And meanwhile, Coach Caren, I'm going to put her YouTube channel information here in the chat so that you guys can contact her. And I'm going to put it up on the screen for those who are going to be watching on the replay. This was just so good, Coach. I don't even know what to say.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to part 2. Oh my gosh. Please follow Coach Caren over on her YouTube channel. Also, you can find Biz Chicks over there on YouTube, and we look forward to talking to you and you being a part of part 2. What to do when you don't have money. Oh, okay, guys. We'll see you soon. Have a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you for tuning in today. We trust you've learned something to help you build a more profitable business and take the hassle out of your hustle. See you next time.